Welcome to my channel. In today's video we're going to be checking out this mini router table loaded with some really cool and unique features from Enjoywood. So check out the video. But hey, let's back up a few steps. That's the way it arrived to me, and I'm going to quickly show you how to put it together. And as you can see, everything is actually quite neatly packed here. Okay, so nothing should get damaged. You do have some instructions and plenty of parts. Give me a second and I'll take everything out of the box. Right, and that's all the pieces that you get in that box. So there is a bit of assembly required here, and overall actually the quality seems to be pretty good. And check out this router table. It's actually pretty heavy, you know. It's all casted aluminium and quite chunky. It seems to be dead flat. And as you can see, the middle part is actually a router base you can physically take out of this router table. And if you have been watching my previous videos, you know I've actually do have that base for my router, and I think it's fantastic on its own as a standalone tool. So with this set, you're not only getting a router table, but the plate itself that you can take off and use wherever you want. The set itself also comes with a bushing, but I'm actually going to take it off for the purpose of installation. Okay, I'm not going to need it, and basically you just unscrew it like that. You do have a collar and you can take it off and put it on whenever you actually need it. With the router table upside down, we can install the legs. Installation of these sides is fairly simple. Just make sure that the wider lip, okay, this is facing outside. And I'm using screws and a washer, M6, and these are 8mm. Now it's time to install the front and the back support brackets. Okay, you do have several holes depending most likely on the size of your router and accessibility to it. One thing you need to be aware of, that lip there needs to be facing the table and going inside. Okay, for me, as you can see at the back, I'm just gonna install this at the bottom holes, and to do that you're gonna need M6 by 12 screws with washer and a nut. And as we are still upside down, we can install the handle for this plate as well. Okay, now let's have a look at the fence itself. As we do need to put together the front slats. At the back of the fence you do have a way to remove the sawdust. Okay, as you can see, it's quite a large opening, so I'm just gonna give you a bit of a heads up. That's 63mm on the outside. On the inside we've got 56mm. However, you also do get this reducing adapter, and this is 39mm. So this will be fine for your normal shop vac hose. Okay, so you are covered in all aspects when it comes to dust extraction. You put in the screws through at the front, just like so. Then you put a plastic washer and a knob like this to secure it in place. Now let's install the fence. Okay, at the back over here you do have some T-tracks, and in the set, well, yeah, you guessed it, you do get some T-bolts. On the fence itself you do have two slots, one closer to the fence and then the other one is a little bit further away, and that's what I'm going to use. On that I'm going to add plastic washer, and now we need to install these really nice handles. Nice, large and long. It will be very easy to actually operate this, okay, without any hassle at all. In this set you also do get this clear acrylic router bit cover. Okay, it's a nice safety feature there. But that's not all. On the top you also do have a T-track slot, okay, and you do get a positive stop to make sure you've got a consistent cut every single time at the same distance. Okay, so it just slides in like that. You can lock it in place If you don't want it, you can remove it, take it up. If you do want it, put it down. You do get this really nice mitre gauge. Okay, we do need to put it together. You do have this aluminium extrusion that you need to install. You do actually get even the plastic covers for the ends to make sure, you know, you don't have sharp edges. The movement of the gauge is actually quite nice. You do have some positive stops there. The digits are nice and clear. You can really easily read what degree you're currently on. And as I said, you've got the most common positive stops for the angles you may wish to do. And again, you do get this nice handle. So we need to put the plastic washer, and then we can tighten up our mitre gauge. I really like the quality of this gauge. I think it's very, very high. Plus, even the bar itself, if you do have any play, you can amend it by tightening up those screws. Let's have a look if I do have any movement. Yeah, as you can see, I do have a bit of play. Not to worry. And there you go, the side movement has been eliminated and it still slides lovely. And there you go, the assembly wasn't too bad, to be fair, quite simple. The only thing I was worried about is the stability of the whole thing, but I'm glad to report, you know, there's no flex in the legs or anything like that. And when you do attach this to your workbench with clamps, or actually you can screw it on, as you do have some screw holes in those feet, so you can semi-permanent attach it to your workbench. This will definitely not be shifting, moving or sliding or anything else, so that's pretty cool. The overall quality of this, I find it to be, again, very, very good. What you would expect from Enjoywood, the additional features like the gauge itself. You do have the positive stop block, the acrylic cover, 2 T-tracks, one at the top, one at the front as well, plus a nice and clear scale over here with marked 0. It goes from 0 right up to 210 millimeters, so that's really cool, especially when you want to position your stop block. Absolutely brilliant. Ease of use to move the fence. You just undo that, shift it front, shift it back, depending on where you need it, and then quite easily lock it in place. With those 2 screws over here on each side, you can shift the opening of the front of the fence to make sure it accommodates your router bit. So that is very nice. And as I said, it's really easy to lock down, no issues at all. Let me just tell you the size of the whole router table. So the width, we've got 42 centimeters, total depth 35 centimeters, total height we've got 28.5 centimeters. So overall dimensions are on the small side. However, for most of the jobs, I think that will be enough. But hey, now I'm gonna install the router in this router table. I'm going to show you how easy it is to do, and we'll do some test cuts. First of all, we need to take off the acrylic cover, just like so. And now we've got access to these little plates. Now, to be honest, I think in most cases this will only take handheld routers like this, the trimmer routers. I think other bases will be a little bit too big, so just give you an indication, the maximum reach of these screws is 13 centimeters. So depends what type of router you have. You may be able to actually attach this. However, in most cases you would be using just the trimmer router bases. So for example, I've got my Bosch router. This is a normal full-size plunge router, and the base is ever so slightly too big. So there you go, you will be limited by the size of the base of your router. But hey, I'm just gonna install my trim router, and first of all I just need to take off the plastic plate over here, and now I can attach this base to the router table. Now I have to say this solution for attaching the base is actually quite good, quite simple, and it's very simple to marry up all the holes with the screw slots. There you go, the base is nice and stable. So we can install back the acrylic piece. As we are still at this stage, I just want to show you the trick that this router table does offer. So you do have 3 screws like that, one at the front, 2 on the sides that do hold this plate in place. You actually release the plate itself, just like that. And you can use that as a normal plate. That's exactly what I have over here with my trend router, and I love this base. It's absolutely fantastic and fully recommended. So in a way, in this set you get 2 things. Now before actually attaching this plate, I want to show you one more thing here. Now on this slip that the router base sits, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws that will actually level out the plate, making sure it's flush with the table. Okay, so they even thought about those small things to make sure everything is nice and perfect. So for example, if this router plate is not sitting flush, you can quite easily adjust it as well. I'm using 2 clamps on my MFD style tabletop, 1 on each side. You do have that lip, so it's super easy to actually clamp down. As I mentioned before, it does have some screw holes, so you can actually drive in some screws and hold it in place. But with 2 clamps, tell you what, this is absolutely stable. It's not gonna go anywhere. So now simply, I'm just gonna put in my router. And there you go, the router is installed. I've got nice access to the switch of my router, and if you wanted to use a battery operated router, there's still plenty of space underneath the machine, so a battery on top shouldn't be an issue, and you should still have easy access to your on-off switches. Right then, so let's set up everything here. Let's say I want to have a little bit deeper cut, just like that. Let's say that's the distance, halfway. I'm going to lock the fence in place. Everything is nice, solid, stable. I can lower this guard down just a little bit. Let's say like so. And finally, let's attach the shop vac hose just like so. And there you go, first cut, no issues. Let's try it again. And as you can see, we've got nice 2 clean cuts with no problems at all. And changing the height of the router bit, you know, it can't get any easier. Just get the fence out of the way, unlock your router, and you can take it as high as you want. Okay, however, you would still have to remove the router to actually change the bit, unless you do have some special router that it will go high enough for you to actually reach the locking nut there. But for me, to actually change the router bit, I would have to take the router out of the holder, and hopefully you can see that the dust extraction is actually very good. You only got a bit of fine dust, not much at all, and there's absolutely nothing underneath the router. However, in some cases you may want to have a groove in the middle of the board. Okay, so in that case the dust collection is not gonna work really well. So let me just lock the fence in this position. And what you can do is to actually attach your dust collection from underneath, okay? As long as your base can take these types of covers that will accommodate a dust extraction, then you are absolutely golden. Now, as you can see, we actually this time managed to create a little bit more sawdust that's on the table itself, but it's probably because the opening is not too big. You had more suction in the fence itself. And tell you what, I need to clean out my bits as it leaves a fuzzy edge on my board. But yeah, overall it's still not too bad. Tell you what, now let's try out this mitre gauge to see if it's actually any good. So I've got this narrow and long piece. I'm going to be using the fence as a reference and this mitre gauge to take everything forward. And there you go, quite easily we created a tenon for our joinery, so that's working quite well. Now let's just change the angle. I do like the that it clicks on to those positive stops as you turn it around. Let's do 45 degrees, okay. And there you go, guys, no issues at all cutting angles with this mitre gauge. Everything's nice, rock solid, you know, there's no movement, clear motion as you push the material through. Yeah, really impressed with that. And finally, let's test this positive stop. Okay, I'm just gonna take it right up here. Let's lower this down a bit. Of course, you can, you know, totally move it out of the way. Not a problem at all. Again, no issues at all. I really like you do have the T-track at the top and at the front. That gives you a bit more spec to actually add some additional jigs or accessories or maybe some safety features. So yeah, from that perspective, it is very cool. And tell you what, I gave you the dimensions of more or less the whole body of this, but I didn't tell you what's the size of this mitre slot over here. So I'm just going to measure that for you right now. And it comes to 19 millimeters, so it's a standard size. So there you go, guys, it works really well and it's just well made, something that I think we came to expect from Enjoywood. And you do have those additional features, like you can take that plate out and use your handheld router with that plate, which I really recommend. It's fantastic. And on top of it, you do have a full yeah, smallish but full-on router table with all the potential things that you may need or want from a router table. Now, there is potentially one problem, and that problem is price. Okay, this is not super cheap, this is not super budget. It's probably cheaper than from any other brand you may find. However, it definitely doesn't cost pennies, and depending where you are in the world with current situation, it may be a bit more expensive in some places. So hey, tell you what, I'm going to leave some links to this down below in the description of this video. Check it out if you are interested in a router table like this, and maybe in your country it will be actually a valid purchase for decent amounts of money. Now, if you do find it too expensive, don't buy it. You know, simple as that. As Banggood do offer quite often some really heavy discounts, like we just had one in April, and you can then pick up, well, this or any other tools at a really good competitive price. But if you don't want to spend that money at all, period, then you definitely should check out my older video where I made this absolutely gorgeous mini router table. Sure, it's a little bit bigger, not much to be fair, and I do have a lift over here. But you know what, you don't need the lift. To be fair, you can just do the plate, or even you don't have to have the plate. Just create a hole, attach the base from the router, and you'll be able to adjust the height of your router with the base that you do have with the router. So, you know, you can go as simple or as complicated or as expensive as you want. At this point, I just wanted to say a massive thank you to my Patreons for the ongoing support. And before you go, check out these two cool playlists with plenty of videos that, well, may pique your interest. However, for today, that's all. Thank you so much for watching, Take care.